Mom Training Podcast with Diana Ballard.
Hey, it's Diana. I was scared to become a mom. I was self-employed, traveled around the world, and I was afraid I'd lose myself, my ambition, be restricted, and be a hot mess. I started interviewing hundreds of moms to figure out what skill sets and mindsets I needed to keep my future family a priority and have the time, energy, and resources to achieve my own goals and hobbies. Each week we discuss how to run a successful household and enjoy your roles as mom, spouse, housewife, and individual. Come learn how to create the life you want while having a family. I'm glad you're here. Oh my gosh, you guys. My stomach has dropped all the way down to my toes. Oh my heck. So, I just went and did my finances for the last month and I completely died. So, I do my finances usually every 2 weeks, when the paycheck comes in, I go through and I love numbers. I mean, numbers ooh, if I could take a bath in numbers, man. Rub them all over my body. I love numbers. You're like, Diana, you're crazy. Yeah, I took math classes for electives. I took trigonometry twice because I'm like, gosh, this stuff is so good. I love numbers. Maybe you're not a number person, whatever. But I do my finances every 2 weeks and love it. I mean, we split up. We live our life on percentages, and that works so good for us. I mean, it's awesome. I swear it creates more money somehow when you do your money in percentages. You have to be good with your money, though, and stop spending stuff. So I was doing my finances, and I sit down, and I go through the credit card statement, which we use like a debit card. And if we pay it off to zero every month, so we don't have any interest, and we just get points back for traveling or for money for doing different fun things or whatever. And I go through the debit card and I go through the credit card and I take every expense and I write them down in a category on the paper. You're like, Diana, you're crazy and you're losing me. No, I'm not, girl. I have so much peace in my finances because I do this. So hear me out. So I write them all down in categories and then I go through and add them up. And we have $1.5 million bank accounts. And so I go through and I say, okay, well, this comes out of fun. This comes out of Diana's allowance. This comes out of my own money. This comes out of investment money because we're, remodeling a house right now. So this is the money we've set aside specifically for only the house, or, this is where this comes from, whatever. So I go through and I add everything up and then I transfer either from the main checking into, the paycheck came in, this percentage goes to saving, this percentage goes to fun, this percentage goes to the food budget, allowance, whatever. And so to explain a little more, I have an allowance that we have created for myself. Now, that could trigger you to be like, what? You have a restricted amount? No, I can spend whatever the freak I want. But why the allowance for me is, I was like, I am so on board with this. You have no idea. The reason why the allowance is I get a certain amount of money for food, which, I've worked out. And then I get a certain amount of money for supplies for the house. That could be diapers. That could be more dish soap. That could be, I don't know, trash bags, whatever. And then I get an extra $25 for me and the kids to go have fun every month. And that could be used any way I want, or I can save it up and put it towards something else. But we've been doing this allowance thing for the last maybe 6 months. And I've been so diligent and careful with my spending with the allowance money. So again, I go through my bank account and I find, okay, this all goes from this. And so I'm going to subtract out this much from my allowance bank account and put it in the regular bank account because that's how much money I spent, yada, yada. And over the last 6 months, I have been so diligent in being careful with what I spent and, scrimping on things. We're going to have soup tonight that I'm going to just make from what's in my, cabinets instead of me going to the store, or, we're just this week I'm just going to eat freezer meals because I've been trying to save up some money in my allowance account so that I can do dance classes for my kids, or, just have that money set aside as a resource to be like, you know what? I'm going to buy a pass to the zoo. And I can because I've set this money aside. And it's guilt-free. Like, it's my money. And like, I overcharge of what I'm in charge of, which is the groceries, which is in charge of the supplies and having fun with the kids. And like the bills and everything, that's all paid out of normal stuff. But the food, supplies, and fun with the kids is given in an allowance, and that's specifically what that's for. So as I went through my finances and like for the month of January, I died, you guys. Like, we ate out so much that month because of moving and remodeling and just so many logistics to like pull off, like being able to, we remodeled so much. We like pretty much gutted most of the house and remodeled it before we moved in so that we didn't have to be doing major construction with the kids because it's dangerous, and it's an old house, lead paint, whatever other crap comes with an old house. We had to get tons of stuff finished. Okay. So that had me and my kids running around all the time. Like every day we were running around doing something, picking up something, bringing it to the house, doing this and that, packing, whatever. We ate out a ton. And in the moment I was like, okay, this is just coming out of my allowance money. I have some extra allowance money. Like, I'm not really buying that many groceries because we're on a run. Like, this will totally even out. Oh my gosh, you guys, it didn't even out. For the month of January, I spent $708. And you're like, Dinah, that's not even that much. Okay. Our food budget is $85 a week. And we live comfortably on that. We eat awesome, home-cooked meals that are healthy, that make us feel good, that, I cook with my own hands. Like, it's delicious. $85 a week. And we do great on that. $708. So you know what happened with that? So I get my food budget, I get my supplies, and I get my $25 for fun. That whole thing got used up for January, and then it took an extra $244. Now, if you're trying to do this math right now, don't even right now. I have some technical, like 2 point something, like everything's multiplied different. So if you want to know exactly how I do my finances, you'll have to come into the financial course that's going to be coming out later this year. I'm going to dive in and literally teach you how to make it easy for you to do your finances, to be able to have money left over and to have fun with it and to not have stress. So if you really want to learn that stuff, you got to plug in to the financial course that's coming later on this year that I'm in the process of creating right now. It's totally awesome. And the reason why the financial course is the first thing is it's because it's the easiest thing for you to control. And you're like, what? Yes. Finances affect everything. Okay. Marriages are affected by finances and communication problems the most out of anything. That's where the most divorce comes from, the most problems, the most fights. You got to get in control of your finances if you want your family life, your marriage, everything to flow a lot better. You learn your finances. So going back, I went over $244 freaking dollars, which you know what that did, you guys? It drained everything I just worked 6 months to save. Now, not everything. I had about $300 that I had saved, which is pretty good because I could have used that money to actually buy food that month, but we didn't. We ate healthy, but we scrimped on some things so I could save up some money to have a little bit of resource. And there I was transferring over that precious money that I had just saved. Now, there are lots of things that could be said right now. Diana, have grace with yourself. That was a crazy month. Diana, it's not that big of a deal. You were able to use that resource. You had it there so that you didn't go over your technical budget. You had the resource to be able to have the luxury and the convenience of going through the Taco Bell drive-thru or getting a pizza at Little Caesars for dinner or, taking the kids out to get something else at a restaurant because you're like, I am not cooking right now. I'm just so done. But here's the thing, you guys, it stung. And it's a good thing that it stung. Because without it stinging is where a lot of problems come in our finances. I will tell you one thing. We plan on flipping homes, right? This is our first home that we bought for a really low price. We're fixing it up and we plan on moving on to the next one and fixing up the next one. Now, I will promise you, I will never, ever do again what I did with my finances and with my food budget this month of January. I will never, ever again drain my resources that way again. That sting that we feel when we actually take responsibility and go look at the numbers and add them up is a good thing. Let it sting and let it change you. Spending all of what you have sucks. Maybe you're used to doing that. It might be time to change and put more resources aside. So how can we take our finances and gain more control over what we're spending? How can we take our finances and make it something that brings us peace and order instead of chaos and hell? I mean, if you've had money problems, and I have myself, it's hell, dude. It hurts. It is one of the most stressful things. You have to beg for money someplace. Like, I can't pay my bills. I need to be bailed out. I mean, it's not fun, going into more debt to pay for something that it's like, gosh, I don't want to go into debt for my frickin' groceries every week. You guys, let's focus on our finances to have peace in our finances, to not have to stress about the number in the bank account, but to watch it grow because we're not spending it. So if you feel like your finances need help and you're not exactly sure where to start, there are so many financial gurus everywhere. But the financial course that's coming out later this year is specifically for moms and budgeting as a mom with a family and kids. You don't want to miss it. I have not found anything compared to what is being created. This will help your family life, your marriage, having fun with your kids, and decreasing your stress immensely. So look at your finances today. Go through and look at your bank statement and let it burn, dude. Go through and be like, oh my gosh, yeah, that was that new shirt that I bought that I'm only going to wear once. Oh, that was a new pair of shoes when I have 500. Oh, shoot, that was me, just not wanting to cook, even though I have a whole freezer full of food. I understand that. Trust me. I understand that feeling. But sometimes we have to fight those feelings. It's not bad to go out to eat every once in a while. It's fun. Take your family out. If there's moments where you have to go through a drive-through, whatever. But what are we doing on a regular basis? Where is all of our money going? Look at your bank statements and maybe reevaluate what you're doing with your money. I hope you have a great day. You are awesome. Share this with another mom, dude, and we'll see you next Tuesday on the Mom Training Podcast.
Hit subscribe so you don't miss anything. You can hit me up on social media at Diana Ballard Live or on my website at dianaballard.com. See you next week.